pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Set up through here and not through there and there.
I have a very hard time. And I'm the only one admitting it.
I found mine. I lost them for like 3 months, my ears.
Oh, you did?
I found them.
We'll go ahead and go into the board of minutes.
I make a motion, we accept the board minutes for May 23rd, 2023.
No second.
Okay, just a second, I was reading that about, Mr. Robinson, the one that made sure I couldn't get
You're fine, I talked
it
to
in yesterday. Yes, so.
totally my.
I'm gonna make sure there's stuff in there, the slightly.
Oh,
So.
what it seemed like.
Move ahead, and he did. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll have to bring up that letter of Heights, is David Heights on the resident of Lower Little Creek, getting the one that passed in correspondence. He wants to know if we've done anything on it, and it was about complaining about the road. It was in correspondence last week. I think it might have got mixed up with some other stuff here.
What was it?
David Pikes was, he's having complaints about the Lower Little Creek Road out in the hall. And Paul talked to him and asked, Paul won't be here, Meg tank broke anyway. I guess we need to look at it, maybe put it on the agenda next week.
What road?
A mag tank split. So you're headed at Great Falls this morning to get a mag tank so they can keep magging. He said he was gonna call you guys, cause I don't like that just calling me. I told him, make sure to call you.
But it's like I say, my phone was out for most of the
Other
day.
than that, on the minutes, I'm good. All in favor? Alright. Any public comment on the minutes? Jason, most regarded that. Alright. We'll move on to correspondence. The first one from Granite Road and Goldstown property owner. It's coming from Jim Gusa. And he wants us to come up and blade and do a bunch of work on the road going up to Garnett. Well, last year we did just a little bit, but that's a non-maintained road. It's a mess. I don't know, I mean, we can do a little bit, but if they don't help, they need to help too, because they're the ones that advertise for Garnett Ghost Town. That gate was tore out again, and I mean, people are going up there and it's too muddy. I mean, it's not our fault. I don't know how we're gonna. They need to help though. I think we should put them on the agenda and make them come in. He said he was in here last year in September. I must not been here that day. You can read this.
Well, there isn't proper drainage in that, is there? I mean,
There isn't spots, Chuck, but them guys, so many of them go up as soon as it's snowing, they like try to see if they can get up there, well, they just tear it all up. And I mean, I don't know if they gotta lock it off and tell, but there's people that live up there that come in and out too, so it's a mess. And BLM, I think, should help us. They're the ones that, we're really pushing, even come from the other side, it's starting to fade all the way in now. And you see it's. We used to deal with that Maria, and she was cool to work with. She actually, that one year, there was a grader up there that was on the other side, we worked together. But now this guy's telling us we need to do this and do that. No, they don't have the money to really.
Yeah.
And that's from Montana Department of Transportation, they're telling some projects and stuff that come. Next one from USDA on the Field Ranger District Environmental Study.
How does this affect Grant County?
I just tell them this if we want to know some more about it. And this one's coming from Kathy Thompson on the Walberg Bridge. And we need to fix it tonight. She's from Staley Engineering and Associates. There any public comment on the correspondence? Being none, we'll just go into public comment.
So on this, Staley. I'm thinking, I remember them coming in and, cause I was thinking that maybe they were coming in and they wanted us to, maybe consider them. And what they're hired by a state to go check the bridges, right?
That's the way I kind of took that.
MDT, Department of Transportation, so. I guess they're just informing us that we got one bridge that's definitely needed to be.
Well, I don't know who called them on that bridge. I guess that's the thing. I know we've been out looking at bridges. It was mentioned one time that need, you know.
So HDR developed a list of officers, so they had it probably in their system. That would,
Yeah,
I think this is maybe some of the infrastructure bill monies or some of that, because all that's going through the state. I don't think it's, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's coming directly to the counties.
no.
And so I believe it's going to the state, and then the state contracted with HDR, who is working with Staley to look at the off-system bridges to see if there are ones in need of repair. That's my understanding of it, but I could have it.
so is
skewed.
this something that needs to be on the agenda maybe?
Yeah, I better see, have Paul look in to see what it's
And I believe he's copied on that.
No, I'm feeling bad for you. No, you're not. Hey, chairman for the day check, no.
You have a public comment.
Elaine.
Go ahead, Elena, on the public comment.
Well, it's same, Elena. Do you hear an echo when I speak?
Not in the room, no.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let's see, the time is 9:09. It seems like you're still on correspondence. Blanche brought up something about one of the letters. Question and a comment. The correspondence on the website, that's 24 pages of correspondence. Is that what you're reading through?
Yes,
24 pages of correspondence, and you have 3 minutes scheduled to go through 24 pages. And Blanche brings up a good point again. She has a question about one, and maybe it should be on the agenda. What about the other ones? Basically, I'm saying, normally with correspondence, you open the letter, you read it, maybe you do it beforehand, and then the discussion would be an action. Are we going to put it on the agenda? Is it a letter of thanks? Do we respond to that? Those are just little things, you know. But it seems like from 9 o'clock, I came in at 9:01, and I don't know what you were talking about. I guess you did the board minutes. And now again, the time is 9:10 and we're doing public comments. I don't know, there's stuff in correspondence that maybe needs some attention, but you just fly through them. And that's my point of reference, and thank you.
So what's the point?
What's my point? My
Yeah.
point is this is a public meeting. And my point happens to be it's for the public to follow also. And if it's correspondence in there that is worth an action, like putting it on another agenda, it should be looked at, okay?
And if
We
didn't say-
I didn't hear
Why
that.
didn't
I
you?
just heard Blanche bring it up now.
she won't let you tell her what you read it and
Yeah.
stuff, whatever.
Okay, I'm suggesting since I'm the public and it's very hard to follow this.
It is every week for you.
Thank you well, keep saying that, Mr. Chairman. I just love that. Thank you. Keep saying it.
So I want to, at this time, bring something up. A little birdie told me that Beaverhead Deer Lodge is redoing their travel plan, and they're just starting. And supposedly they got reached out to all the counties. And we didn't respond back to it. We wanted to be involved. And I never heard about it. And
I never knew about it.
so I think we better put that on the agenda and maybe get a little Forest Service, see what's going on. Because
Is that the Schedule A and stuff, Chuck?
What is it? Explain that to me. I'm not sure what you're talking
the travel plan, they do a travel plan for closing like Forest Service roads and stuff, so they're gonna redo the whole thing. And I think we wanna be informed on this. You know, cause they can close more roads. But anyway, supposedly we were told about it. And I never heard anything.
I never knew about it. I don't think we've ever been told about it, cause usually if they're gonna close a road, they you know, there's like a 2-week thing and then a public notice or something.
Well, this is a whole travel plan map and everything, you know, they changed. They,
about. And it comes from
Would it come out of Dillon?
the Forest Service? And they said that they have informed us.
the way I got it, all the counties were informed and only 2 responded that they wanted to participate or be kept up.
Yeah, I don't ever remember not even in a newsletter.
And this just happened, I mean, it was in the last.
We can get a hold of that lady in Dillon or Cameron and see what, if they have a plan, so usually about this time of year, they come in with. Plans and they mention road closures and that we're on their Schedule A and that, so.
It is a different thing,
And who reached out to you?
a birdie. A birdie,
Somebody don't want their name said. Any other public comment? State your name.
Jim Baque, local resident. I just had a little statement I wanted to read. In honor of all of our fallen military and in memory of their sacrifice, I'd like the commission to please take a moment to internalize what they died for. Liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
We'll take a minute. Okay, thank you for that too, appreciate it, appreciate everybody's services. Oh, we're still in public comment. Yeah, cause I down to a couple minutes or so.
Oh,
All right, well, we'll move on to the weekly report with Road and Bridge Superintendent Paul. He won't be here this morning. He headed right up to Great Falls to get a new mag tank. They're like $5,000 or $5,500. The other one's split out in the bottom. And we just have to get one.
what tank?
A mag or that custom made stuff, so we can put out mag. The other was just running out the bottom of the dump truck, so this, you'll go get a new tank, have it back.
What are they made of?
That heavy duty, yeah. We've had it since 2017. So that's where he is. We said they just been going a bit back and waiting a little bit, and they hired a temporary guy, and he's gonna start helping and start patching holes and stuff. That's all I know.
And Paul did call me, he called everyone, I guess, that short-term person.
He said I know he called
Yeah.
you, and he said he tried you, Chuck.
Oh, sorry. Just to explain that is that the short term is where they have a certain amount of time and there's really no benefits. But if there was a position to be coming up and that person wanted to put his application in for that position coming up, but this is something where they don't have to advertise, and it's the superintendent can just find someone, or someone can, and he can pull them up, and it's a short term. Just so that the public knows that perfectly legal and
Yeah, he's a young kid, he's out, he's taking plant school and that, he's off in the sun. The only other thing I wanted to bring up is our renter down there, the grass is foot high and it's rather by a foot, but did you?
I got a hold of him. He does not have a lawnmower, but he is trying to find one so he can mow the lawn. He was supposed to let me know by the end of next week whether or not he is going to renew his lease. He doesn't think he is interested in renewing it. So it is up the end of June. I didn't hear from him on Friday, so I'm gonna reach out to him today.
Or something like that where he don't want, can we hold his lawn because he didn't mow the yard, because it's in there and he needs to maintain the yard.
That would be a plain question.
Morning.
I'm trying to be, but I mean, we got,
does the shop have a lawnmower?
Nate had his own, he borrowed from his mom, and then before Nate moved in, we hired that guy to come in and mow it right after weather left, remember that? So I will have to hire him again just to mow, get caught up.
Is it his lease that he keeps up the yard? It's his responsibility.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking, if we hold back, because if he's not gonna, why would you mow if they're not gonna move back in there?
If he doesn't mow before he moves out, I think he could probably withhold the money to mow it.
She's talking about the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that teacher asked to come back again, or?
I haven't heard what I'm hearing is he wants a place where he can have an animal, but I haven't heard that he has a different spot either.
I'm just saying, you know, it needs to get it mowed, it's just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, it's give him a call.
Hey, Nate, do it.
Yeah. Oh, he's a good guy. I think yeah, just give him a
I'll follow
call.
up with him
We have,
today.
or she's
Oh.
told me, we need,
Oh, yeah.
we can't find a lawn.
Oh,
I
yeah, he could
Oh,
borrow
Nate
someone's
Bolton.
lawnmower. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it just needs to get it done, it's a big yard.
So on that. No pets, can we be a little more lenient, or do we have to use strict? Speaking of pets,
My opinion, Blanche, is on that, was if there's so much written around, I mean, you'd have to have it cleaned up with something like.
The problem in the past was animals in there and did damage, but be commission's decision on that, but yeah, it's I hear you.
$10,000 cleaning that place, I don't want all of a sudden have cats in there again and go back through the whole thing, I think. I don't think,
I just was,
no one understands.
Well, and it was already damaged before the county got it, right? I mean, it was in pretty poor, it wasn't the county just allowed stuff to go on.
But I mean, we
Yeah,
spent money on.
yeah, you have to fix it.
Buildings there, cause all the cats were around
Yeah.
there feeding them in there. So,
Yeah.
I don't know,
just.
I'm gonna look into it, I just don't know why. They need to have that.
Notice how he fills that out of a lot better than us.
Mhm.
Notice how he fills this out, sorry. Where he's filled out,
Oh, yeah.
I was just commenting on that.
No, it's nice that he actually looks. It's, yeah, sorry. Any other stuff for road and solid waste?
They get the temporary person hired, or is that?
Yeah, I
work?
thought that-
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
I'm waiting on one
Yeah.
thing for it to be final, but
But I
yeah,
mean, they hired.
Yeah.
Said he could.
the rest of the
have
process is
Yep.
done.
He'll be good. Yeah.
I guess we can talk about that BLM thing, cause that's a road deal, going up to Garnett, they want us to do a bunch of work. This and that. Need to talk to, I don't know if they got rid of Maria or what, but this. I don't know this guy.
And just to interrupt you a little bit, this is the letter we received. During correspondence, that how many pages was it? Part of the
24.
27 pages or whatever. On fixing the road.
Oh, okay.
And I think, is this one up to Garnet or is it up to Granite?
Garnett.
Oh, okay.
So the granite ghost town. On both sides. Signatures from pictures of the
Oh,
road.
okay.
So
Yeah, I
I
talked-
guess as long as we're in road,
You talked about last week, I was gonna get up there, I think, didn't you?
That's on the ground.
Yeah.
so is this where you would say you'd want to put this on the agenda to speak with?
Just go and read it and see he's got ideas what they're thinking about doing or not.
11 pages.
Yeah, I got it. It's CC to me.
Anything else on roads or solid waste? Lots of water.
I looked at it this morning. Did you look at it this morning?
Mhm.
Water.
Mhm.
Oh,
Beans, we don't have nothing else that, we'll move on to the. Draft bid notice for bathrooms at both solid waste sites, water well at Phillipsburg Solid Waste. We got something from there?
Had it on here. You guys told me to put it on 2 weeks ago. You said put that on in 2 weeks, so I put it down. We were gonna draft a notice, but then I was gone last week, so.
That's what I was like, I thought, yeah, we thought it was gonna be 2 weeks, if I don't know if he knows anything about the well.
Okay,
So
I-
yeah, I just put it, I table it for next week.
Okay.
I think you need like plans before we even
draft
do the
anything.
bid notice. There's some good ones online. I mean, but we can talk about it later, but I mean, found stuff
Good what online?
like plans for that type of stuff.
So
Or
do
you
we-
can hire an engineer, but you can already get good plans.
We need to reach out to get the water well done. We need to probably do that right away.
I think that's what he said last week, he's still waiting on, we can call him, Paul said we can call him. Find out if he's heard anything on the well, but we told him 2 weeks to bring it back up. So,
He'd already called someone.
Yeah, he said he had. He basically said it's hard to get someone in very fast, and then he had found someone there last week and said no.
you want to call him and see what he said?
Gonna call him now.
403 370.
There's one like that.
4117.
That's like a family one, but there's ones that have like, you know.
Them things there, them big concrete ones, they're pretty spendy.
Yeah. But it'll last, won't it? But I just to show you that there's stuff, there's plans that are good.
Three, 7, 0,
4117.
7.
Oh, you have a graduate too there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
There's another one right behind you.
Yeah, yeah. Already
It's not-
congratulated him.
For whatever reason, do we need to unplug the phone or?
There won't even.
It's not.
There's no dial tone or anything?
Okay, if he can just.
There's a dial tone. Or,
You have to hit 1406.
the long distance. Didn't know it was long distance.
I think you have to do that with all the stuff now, but. They have.
I know you had to do 406, but I didn't know you had to do one.
I think you do.
3. 3. Sorry, you called 3, 7, 0.
4117. I guess sending a message to call him, last week they weren't working there. You're dead.
Weird. I don't know. I'll look at that phone.
The phone isn't working.
So, were your phones out yesterday?
I don't know, I never, the cell or the.
Everything. Everything was out.
I never noticed.
Our internet wouldn't work yesterday, but I blamed it on everybody up at the ranch at Rock Creek because I saw a lot of SUVs going, so I figured they were probably booked.
My cell phone was working, so your cell phone was down.
Yeah, he called me like 4 or 5 times and I kept calling him back and I could hear him the last time, but I could never get through to it. And that was on his home and his back.
Everything was out at our place. All the neighbors too.
Verizon,
I
Verizon,
left him a message.
Granted,
Blanche
Commissioner's
called
office
in.
is silly.
I left Paul a
Oh, okay.
message, so I guess we can move on and then when he calls, but. So we'll go ahead and go into the dam tenders report. It's,
What?
it's,
Obviously, we
42943.84.
And I
so
will.
basically, we're
Contact
full.
information, so I just in the middle of the meeting.
Point, what was it?
Whatever
Point-
the contact.
Four-
0.84.
So right now it's 6429.43.
4-3.
Is it the?
0.84, right?
I just looking at it.
That's why I was trying to
Okay,
call
perfect. I will give you a call back here.
Scott yesterday,
All right.
because. Everything's out, I couldn't check it, my internet was out and everything, and I had 0.8 inches of rain on Sunday. So I figured, well, with the way it was, it's probably going over. and there wasn't. And I think maybe the inflows went down a little bit. But here's where we're at, in my opinion. I consider it full, okay. Now, we gotta go through June, and there's nothing to say, and I don't have a crystal ball to predict when we could get 2 to 4 inches of rain in one rain, which will flood everything. So I'm thinking we let out the max we can without screwing up things downstream. Bring it down a little bit, so we have a little bit of freeboard through June, like a couple inches maybe. That's just what I'm thinking. Whatever you guys got.
So like from Todd. He's continuing to access on a weekly basis is good. But he's thinking we will see inflows drop. And if outflows remain at 75, the lake elevation will follow. So I think we will have plenty of time to react and fill or keep the lake near full by dropping the outflows as soon as the lake elevations begin to dip. So week by
That's
week,
basically what I'm saying,
yeah,
if you go towards the end of the month. And we have a long range forecast of dry. But you know, I mean, it could do the same thing in July, I mean, we could have. Several inches of rain and bring it back up, so. This is just what I was thinking, go out the max now and then
so you look at last year, there was 6428.92 and we were letting 30 out.
And then it rained hard
And then it
in
rained.
June and brought it back up.
Yeah.
Basically. And,
What's your comment? You're okay with that?
Give time, get a report.
Yes, I have a copy of it for you.
Basically, that's what Todd's saying too, that the inflows are gonna drop, and they're obviously gonna drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because snow.
Yeah.
Basically gone.
So one question, when we've got this much coming out. Does it like store it kinda and then the water use irrigators? Have plenty of water? Is there a place like a storage thing where they can let, or it just goes and then they let it?
They just goes there wherever, and then they certain times to let their gates open and that, they got little. You know, side ditches and that. It just all depends on the weather and the hay, you know.
Okay, but right now, they have plenty of water, right?
Okay.
Did you say?
With rain and.
Yeah.
And
One thing to remember is, once you're at full pull and then you're letting out inflows, then you're fine, it's not a temporary modification, but if you're at
Well, that's
full
what it says.
pull and then letting out more than inflows, then you're at temporary modification.
so. We'd have to do another temporary,
If you're at full pull and let out more than inflows, you have to get the agency consent.
So if your outflow is more than the inflow, then you have to.
What?
Yeah.
Once you're at full pull, but you're right, you're
We're like one
right there.
inch.
0.8,
I call it full cool.
So what's the inflow, you know? So why don't you? Were you busy or something?
You know, my own comment is we should have been listening to Todd all along. All along. That's it. You know, I came down and tried to. Just make some sense of all this for everybody involved, and now we're at full pull. There's gonna be water over the spillway within a couple days. And if it rains. Any other storms, it's cruising. It's gonna be 100 plus going down.
What's max?
Per quarter says don't let out more than 100.
Hmm?
Per quarter says don't let out more than 100, but when it's uncontrolled, it's uncontrolled.
you know, I can't measure.
Yeah.
That gets down.
So if we went to 85 maybe?
I'd say 85 or 90. if we
85,
could,
90.
And. I don't know. And if the homeowners think that they have a better solution, I suggest they get a hold of us. If they have a crystal ball. And they know that it's gonna rain 4 inches in June. All at once, basically. Then they better get a hold of us and tell us, because I don't have a crystal ball.
Well, that's the whole thing is, they're sitting here and. Room said it wouldn't fail, and we all sat, and I. We knew it was gonna fail, but he's saying it would.
I
But
made,
now you watch, he'll be the first one in there to complain about his dock or it's too much water. See, that's what pisses me off so bad, like if we had a, try to move it, a little bit.
An answer. Granite County Commissioner's Office.
I'm sure it's Paul, cause I texted him saying, call into the office.
I don't know.
I indicated that, those in the garbage.
so before everybody gets all excited about how it filled. I measured 6.1 inches of my place in May of rain. And that's what it filled. Huh?
And, you keep suggesting this crystal ball thing. We have
This word on the
forecast. We have all this stuff at our fingertips.
Yeah, what?
Forecast, we have Todd, we have input that.
You can't go by the board.
You can't, why do we have a forecast?
Good question.
You sat here and said you didn't believe Todd's report every time it came in, and then last week you said, yeah, I think we should get a report from Todd.
It's him.
You know,
Call- Paul's trying to call.
I think the forecast even changed while we've been sitting here. It's showing rain today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday now.
I saw a different forecast on the same forecast. One of them said 60%, 60%, 60%, and then it'll go 7-day forecast, 2020.
Yeah, we.
Right, tell them try again.
Anyway, did you get a hold of the water very well, guys? Sorry, Paul. Okay, and then I guess then we'll sit down and try to look at some buildings or whatever. You'll take care of that.
Yeah, I got a line and a half on. Hoping that Nick Walls will give us a price on building. It's gonna be awful small, It's gonna be way under that price.
Okay, well, that's good. And there's a first Billy will send you his name, that BLM guy, but we need to talk about that. I just put it on the agenda for next week. That,
I think he was copied on the email.
Okay,
so we just want to make sure, check on that, and I'll let you go. Anything else?
no, not yet.
Sorry. All right, thanks.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, I missed the conversation because I'm messing up the calling. So what are we doing? What are we?
And not so much a daily rain forecast, it's we have these model forecasts that Todd's gives us to go with up there, so we're not wasting water. And we've wasted a lot of water so far, and more to come.
If there was more, the water that you said was in that snow, there's no way we weren't gonna put it down through that gate.
That, if we would have used it properly and we had freeboard. Before this
I'm
Monday.
not gonna get this argument with you anymore.
I'm
You
not
can't,
arguing.
in January, you cannot predict how much precipitation you're gonna get. Okay,
Why do we have Todd? Why do we have Todd? And the FERC license says whatever's coming in goes out. And when you drop to 6, that's not following their license.
yeah, during the winter, we were letting out like 20 and it was going basically flatline. So if 20 was coming in, 20 was going out.
Yeah, winter is the greater or lesser of 10 or inflows.
Well, anyway, look, we better figure out what we're gonna do now, because we're gonna have a bottle of water.
Exactly.
That's, I mean, what we've done that, we better, it's a good learning experience, but I just know that I say it again, just like remember when he was in there saying it wasn't gonna fail.
And you know, Paul, I do agree with you, just watching it and learning from the past couple of years. Is like the first year that I was here, we just did 6. And at this time, doing 6, we were lower than we are now. And we'd have to go back and just average what we've done for this winter, which we have been doing 10, and we were 15 and we were 20. So I agree with you, I really do on the inflows and the outflows, I think possibly. That, you know, instead of dropping lower than what's coming in, is something that maybe would be a good
I
idea.
mean, you gotta match inflows and outflows, but inflows are matching outflows. If you're putting out an outflow and you're staying steady, a steady line, then that's what's coming in during the winter.
Yeah,
Okay,
right,
and that's what we were doing basically.
and that's what, we weren't doing that the year before.
No.
No,
More.
no,
And-
we just went straight 6.
But watching just,
So what's the motion?
was there one?
No, that's what I said.
We were still discussing it.
What's the motion?
Okay, let me do this, let me just do this little thing here. And do it for a year.
25. Fuel plant, right?
What is the model projecting the latest one from Todd Light?
He says inflows are gonna go down, which is true. Basically, the fluctuation is gonna be from the precipitation, which it normally is anyway. And yeah, basically, yeah.
Here's the email.
So if somebody has, you know, I've seen them predict, you know, maybe a quarter to a half inch rain, and at my place will get 2 to 4 inches of rain. It will rain like crazy, and anybody can predict that.
Billy, can I share this
But
screen?
we haven't got the same rain up there that you have down here.
Or Billy, may I?
What's that?
We haven't got the same amount of rain up there as you've had down here either.
There you go.
And it just came back,
So-
like, just getting it right. Get it right.
So that's for a year. And how would we want it? I mean, this is, the bottom one is the year before and the top one is this year. So what you want then is it should run a straight line across, is that what you're saying? Instead of up and down like it's up and down, and this is inflow, right? Or this is water level.
You know, you gotta match the inflow, or be less than the inflow.
Yeah.
Gain.
Yeah, temporary modification in the winter, if you go above, it's. MCFS or inflows, whatever is less.
See, we get that spike at the end. That's in the spring, that's now, I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is you get these rainstorms that come down and they can rain, I mean, like Sunday, I couldn't believe. We had 0.8 of an inch, and I thought, well, I go out and look at it, maybe it'll be a 1/4 inch. Well, there's 0.8.
This is right, you know, like we, you know, argue and everything, like you said, we should let more out, just try to keep up with it. Now we're gonna
Okay, that makes sense if you're gonna be down more water, letting it out, you're then trying to conserve it, but then if it's level, inflow, outflow, then you're not gonna have such a worry in the spring. Maybe, I don't know,
And like I said, but this,
you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Exactly, I mean, yeah, like I say, if somebody, especially the homeowners right now, if they have a crystal ball, says, okay, because we're basically.
where are they right now? Cause they'll be in when it's their docks or, yeah, where they at right now?
I don't know if they're on Zoom or not.
Frustrates me is that.
So that's why I say now, if we go to like Black said, 85 or whatever. We bring it down a little bit, we get a little free board.
So we're at 75, go up to 85 is your motion.
So, do you think more, or do you want to keep it at 75?
I think it would go down. because the inflows are gonna slow down, and if we don't get rain.
I don't think they ever go down with the outflow right now.
Hmm?
I don't think they ever go down with the outflow right now.
No, it would down,
No.
If things stay the same, we'll have a foot of water.
You didn't mean that, you didn't.
Foot.
I didn't say go down.
Yeah, you did. You said if we go down,
Yeah, that's what you.
I think I meant the water level, we're bringing the water level down. The pre-board,
okay, yeah, well, it didn't sound that way.
Anyway, we'll get, so you wanna go to 85?
How do I unshare this? Stop sharing, never mind.
Okay.
85, I make a motion, we go 85.
I'll second it.
Oh, we're at 75.
Yeah.
You don't think we should,
Oh, you gotta go up. Gotta go up. No.
I'm just thinking
85, 90, oh.
85.
I'll second it. I can't guarantee it, I mean. I'll second it.
You think it should be higher? Seriously, I don't either, that's
85,
the
90.
thing. Try 85 this week, and then if we're still raising up. We'll have to do a little more next week, I mean, this is where we gotta watch it.
Yeah, this is why, sometimes it's better to go with more, and then we can always adjust, and. They gotta understand from that end all the way down, you gotta be worked together, you can't just worry about getting it, now they're gonna be in here. We went through this, 2 years ago? We-
Three, I think that's.
Let's, move on with it,
1 inch,
all in favor?
I,
Motion carried, passed, we go up to 85, we'll get a hold of. Yeah, and thanks for showing him how to do that, I appreciate that.
So right now, the inflows aren't at, well, we're not quite at full, so it's temporary modification, I'll send out an email.
Then we'll get a hold of Jared.
Wow,
Can I get a hold of him or do we wait until we?
yeah, I do now.
have a good day.
You too.
This afternoon.
I figured it'd be, I looked at it this morning, because I couldn't look at it yesterday, so that's why I tried to call.
Yeah, the rain's coming.
And I couldn't get into any of it.
Because I wanted to raise it up yesterday, just to get another day of bringing it down.
All righty, well. Go ahead and move on to. Work session, town of Phillipsburg and Granite County Law Enforcement Agreement.
Come on up.
We're
How's it going?
a few minutes early. What do you think?
What do you guys thinking?
Did you go over this at your meeting?
We have not discussed it as a group yet. The mayor. And oh, by the way, I'm Jason White, just for the people that are online. Councilman Jason White. The mayor handed it to me, John McGay, and he told us to come up here and sit in here with you guys, and then I think. The idea is whatever we figure out today, possibly, I'm assuming bring into the meeting next week. To the. Town.
Did anybody talk to Scott about this?
He's gonna,
And fuel going up, their insurance and stuff.
I think he's gonna come over,
Okay. We're just
gonna stop over.
And we still have 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
The one, as long as we're discussing, the one thing is. I think what the liability and the personnel and all this other stuff is probably okay unless the town feels that there's something. That they want to change, it's what we're gonna look at is. What kind of inflationary percent do we maybe need? Do we need to increase it? Because in 2019, it was 2%. Over the fees paid through the contract.
That was, I'm Councilman Legay.
Phillipsburg. My only question was that. The 2%, is that gonna be adequate? The town shall pay a sum of 82,859. Is that adequate? Under today's dollars? A lot has happened in the
Yeah.
past 2 years. And he has to project what's going to happen in the next few years. So. Increases in both of those areas. I think should be significant to prepare.
So
What
what
is-
you're agreeing to, what we need to discuss then is just what the inflationary percentage is that you are willing to put in this contract.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything else seems to be adequate.
Right,
It works.
yeah,
That's why I
Everything he does works.
wait for the sheriff to see them.
and see, and what with the inflationary. What is inflationary? It's pretty, is it going down a little bit, or is it still rising, or is it maintaining?
It's not rising, but it's. From
I
the
think
peak,
today-
it's
It's not rising.
Today, the new
fast.
reading
Yeah.
coming out, but it was going up.
I think it's like. Not 5%.
What, one thing I'd suggest looking at is what actual inflationary costs were over the last like 4 years. In the sheriff's budget, that would be a good start, I think.
Well, you look at the calls and
Yeah.
fuel and insurance and how everything's going up, I mean, like. Not trying to dig it or nothing, but I hope that he's got that, and it's gotta go up to cover and make sure that we're. You know,
He's
kinda
probably,
going in the hole, right?
he's probably working on his current budget right now for the coming fiscal year, working on it right now, so.
Did you, catch him or something, see if he's coming?
I
know it's a-
I was just emailing him and I think he's planning to come over right around 10. I think you
So
have,
that's basically what it is the agreeing on what percentage do we need. From you as an increase for your contract with Granite County for your deputy.
Do you have any other problems?
And that being a 3 or 4 year contract is good with you guys?
We have not discussed it with
Okay,
the full council.
okay, cause then put in the other one put out 2%, but was multi-year,
I don't see anybody having an issue with that, but.
so you'd have to look at what what that percentage would be.
Council fully supports.
Yeah.
Our conversation.
Oh, just wait.
So this is a 4-year one.
Yeah, it incorporates in per year,
4 year.
Yeah, and then 2% every year.
yeah, so that'd be just looking at the number of years for it and what the percentage per year would be,
Well, yeah, I think that's the only thing that
yeah.
needs addressed. Keep it at a 4-year and figure out what percentage per year. Right?
Sounds good to me,
Depending upon what he needs
yeah.
or what he wants.
So I guess it's coming, yeah, what he wants and what you're willing to offer. Or what we're gonna demand from you. No, just kidding. I'm teasing.
In again, on Councilman Legay. On a related but unrelated note, under 3, delivery of services on the agreement. 3.2, enforcement responsibilities. There's been discussion of, not on that committee, but there's been discussion of an animal shelter in the area. And the line under 3.2, the sheriff shall not be responsible for housing any animals. Next sentence, investigation and citation on animal-related incidents will be done. This
Where's
time
that
the
at?
sheriff's doing it.
Where's that at?
3.2, delivery of services.
Okay, this animal shelter is not a deal right now. It's not in.
No, it's in, everything takes 2 to 5 years.
Yeah, but it
They're
hasn't
just
even
beginning
been,
this.
the county has not said that, yes, we're going to
Oh, I understand
accept
that.
this after 2 years. So this is I
I
don't know.
understand that,
I don't
but
think
this,
that should
this
be
could be
brought
an avenue for us to get the sheriff out from under. The responsibility that he has, but the duties that. He really shouldn't be. performing.
Okay, so the one thing that I've done a little bit of research on that and I put together the amount of money that the town of Phillipsburg and the town of Drummond paid. And it amounts to the one deputy plus benefits. Plus. There's. Dispatcher, it amounts to where. Looking at the dog calls. For a full-time deputy and you're looking at half-time, you're looking at maybe 20%. Of that income taking care of dog calls and stuff. So that is the responsibility. It is in the contract with the town of Phillipsburg for the deputies to take care of dog calls and stuff. So I think that should stay in there. Because
Oh, at this time? Oh, absolutely, but over the next 3 to 5 years. It would be advantageous to all of us if we move those duties away from the sheriff. And into another avenue.
so you guys are gonna fund that then for your own dog catcher, is that what you're saying?
Partially, yeah.
Partially being in school, you get.
Well, we're still looking at this. It's gonna take a long time to get this done.
I mean, they could have a code enforcement officer, but.
And we have a code enforcement officer funded, but that's.
Yeah.
Not a shelter. It would be advantageous to us over the next 3 to 5 years. To move that away from the shelter. And free him up to his true responsibility. But that's just food for thought. In the meantime, we're dealing with this. And as far as Jason, do you have anything other than?
No, what I read, it was everything looked good. I figured the biggest thing was gonna be that, obviously the money, the fees. That was gonna be the biggest.
You were kind of asked for us, more, that's light. And then the money deal is this, with everything going on, you got pictures, feasible.
Fees for what?
Feasible.
Fees.
There he is. Come on up, Bob.
How's it going? Look. I'm gonna stand, thanks.
So, we're talking this, did you, you've been looking at your budget and that. This price here, is it gonna go up? We just need to see if we're seeing raises for the,
Price, which price in the line, in the budget are you talking, or for the contract?
in this contract.
It's about gonna have to go up, because it, what do we do for cost of living, just cost of living alone?
The current contract was 2% per year, so you're. You're saying your costs are going up more than that percentage?
Likely with what's going on with Phillipsburg, I don't know if the costs are going up a lot more than that, but Phillipsburg's requiring more coverage.
Well, that's why we wanna make sure and put it in their higher percentage, they gotta take it back and get it approved. I mean, we don't want.
Well, are we talking about that 2%, or are we talking about the cost of living increase that's gonna? It's gonna increase the total that the town's paying now anyway, correct?
Would you speak up a little, what you're saying?
The 2% now, I'm not really all that concerned about, but the cost of living is gonna increase the overall what the town pays anyhow. So it's apples and oranges, isn't it?
Well, I think we need to look and see what yours budget has gone up the last 4 years or whatever, and then look at that percentage and what the increase per.
Well, it's been a couple of years since I calculated what it cost to outfit a deputy was over $80,000 a year. By the time we figure out their benefits and all the gear, the vehicle, the training, everything is over $80,000 a year, and that wasn't even including liability insurance. I didn't factor that in.
Well, I mean, with the fuel and our insurance has all gone up again, and we gotta figure out the percentage, gonna have to have something to come out and tell them it's 7%. I'm just doing, not just saying, say 7%. We gotta have
Well-
something to, so that they can take it back and see if they can get it approved.
I don't wanna blindside the council with this, cause the mayor and I have already talked a little bit about that cost. I don't know needs to increase the 2% stuff. Necessarily, but if you increase the. The cost of living, where do you factor that into the equation there? On that 2%?
Yeah, that was a
Okay,
good reason for it,
okay.
yeah.
That's what I'm saying, we need to, throw
Yeah,
something at
we
them,
need to go
that they can take back and then they can counter it or whatever, so we're all. We just gotta figure out that with this, everything going up, we gotta put it in, otherwise it's.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? How do you average, or do you have a kind of an average of a time frame that you have for Phillipsburg for a deputy?
So they pay for 32 hours a week. And I can assure you that they're getting more than, they're probably getting close to 32 just for me. And they have, there's always usually, right? There's usually always a night shift guy, at least on this end of the county and primarily in Phillipsburg.
Is that the same kind of time frame you have for drum?
No, it's different. It's different. Phillipsburg definitely gets more of the services than Drum because they pay for more than Drum does, but it's also what's required too. If we got a big event, which is every weekend of the summer here, there's two.
That's what I'm saying, we need to. put
There's two
something in a
deputies,
Bigger price and then.
or at times there's 3 or 4 or 5 of us. Which the contract does allow me to go to the town. It's worded in there, I forget exactly how, on these like Creek Valley's, I've just never done it. I've never went to the town and said, you're gonna have to pay for 4 or 5 additional officers. I've never done that to the town.
So there's inflationary, but there's also more hours
Yeah,
per
they're
week.
definitely getting their money's worth on hours, there's no question on it. No, Lance, to answer your question directly, we're not keeping logs of the exact time frame of hours. We used to, and it was a pain. But if the town had questions on that, I could show them where we did. Where we had a deputy on doing building security checks, traffic stops, which you guys get those reports. Anyway. And that would show that roughly the times when these guys or gals are right in town here, so.
Extensive.
So would you, let's average both of them together, and would it be like a one full-time deputy plus benefits that would cover?
That's basically what the town of Phillipsburg
Yeah.
spending. Is one full-time. In what they're paying, and that's a lot of money. The town pays a lot of money, but by the time you factor into everything in the equation to fund the deputy, it's very expensive.
Well, and that's where,
You know,
yeah,
so-
that's where you can't really go in there and say, well, you're gonna be paying for the fuel tool, and you're gonna be paying for this, and you're gonna be paying for that. I think. We went over this, and. Right now, this is to me, a fair amount, but maybe increase the percentage.
Maybe
And
Might
then,
have to.
because you're still,
it's important to note that. Regardless, I wanna keep the town, a contract with the town because it works best for everybody, because. There is examples of across Montana statewide where. The people in town still pay county taxes, so by statute, I'm still responsible to handle. Situations in town. I just am. I know. Stevensville, I'll bring that up for example, was not handling the felonies as they should be, so the sheriff's office had to step in and start handling the felony cases in town. So I'm responsible for it one way or another.
but the one thing,
I have a question. Over the next 3 years, 4 years. What increases do you project? Either increase in the size of the town? Or growth?
Maybe not necessarily the county.
What's that?
The towns, it's growing a little bit too, though. But what the development going on around Phillipsburg is. There's a lot.
That's what I'm saying, you're gonna have to increase that percentage or figure out something, because everything's going up. And I'm not trying to dig these guys, but to make it work, you gotta have an increase.
Not just the cost, but the need.
That's
The-
what I'm saying, is how you're gonna put this in,
Yeah.
and then you guys gotta take it back. then you'll counter.
The need is far.
Like, here's an example, and that's why we do the contract. If we didn't have a contract with the sheriff's office, the town of Phillipsburg, then the town of Phillipsburg would get their own deputy. So you're looking at
Yes and no.
what you would have to pay for a deputy and all the expenses for that deputy, the car, the fuel, the uniforms of this, to that. And what you're doing is you're saving some money by contracting with the sheriff's office, and you're also helping the sheriff's office because that revenue is coming into his to cover that deputy. That's what it's all about. I mean, you would have to pay so much more if you hired your own deputy.
Do they have to have their own judge then if they hire their own, or how's that?
They do have their own conduit, but right now, most
Well,
of
they did
the,
have their own judge, but.
yeah, it's Judge Bradsky, yeah, but most gets, for the contract, gets written into justice court. So I mean, if it's a nuisance dog or vicious dog, it's gonna go into town
You
court.
wanna
This thing's
table
going.
this and bring us something next week so we can, cause they gotta take it back, so
What do
they
you
have
want me to
something.
bring you? I would say at least. A 1% increase, and I'm not sure if that's gonna cover the cost of living increases and.
We don't know.
Well,
You
it's,
don't- You would know better than
Thank you,
than
Dave.
me on
Don't
that.
get that. I mean, we gotta make this.
okay, so this isn't, I don't know. Take it home. Talk to your council and your mayor. Take it home and say, what would be a fair wage? For if we hired our own, what would it have to cost? Then you're gonna see.
I don't wanna start those talks, because East Helen is going through this right now where they have their own police department. It's unfortunately, we lost a deputy to the East Helen Police Department.
Yeah.
It's in shambles right now. And the county's having to cover the calls in.
Well, see, this is what we explained to the,
The town is very happy with.
yeah, I know, this is what I'm saying. That's, I know you're happy with it. We want to keep
It's
this
what's best
contract.
for everybody.
We just want you to realize, okay, you don't have to do the whole shebang 8% for that deputy. You just have to figure what you wanted, like you said, another percent or maybe up to 4%.
Well, it's either that or. Maybe up to 4%, but. I'm trying to think, cause I've never done this before, start sending the town a bill for these additional things going on in town every single weekend. Every single, the Rotary pays the reserve deputies, they pay them. Their own, $20 an hour or whatever to work those events. That's the only event that sponsors any extra law enforcement coverage. The rest of them, we're just eating it.
Is that something you wanna take back then? And bring
That's
that
why
up?
you need the resort tax.
Well, maybe that's an option too, though, is to just start sending the bills to the town and it could start adding up with all the weekend. Yeah, if we're gonna have. Something we do is we put on a DUI patrol like for Flacker Valley days, so that gives us extra coverage, like 8 hours a weekend. That the DUI task force is paying for now. I don't, why the town would need to pay that cost, but maybe. They start paying for the additional coverage over the one deputy. I don't know.
But I'd say it'd be easier to try to project that and average it for the year and include that in additional hours for the contract. And I also think potentially the county should look at being the one that makes the initial offer on the percentage by looking at what the increases have been over the last few years, including your current requested budget, which you're probably working on now, right? Looking at that percentage increase and then making them an offer on what that percentage should be,
Well,
plus the hours.
and what you're looking at too is the increase in the tourism but their taxes aren't increasing. They're not getting that extra revenue coming from any of the tourists. And so they still have to cover that and pay for it. I mean, this is where it's coming on the taxpayer to fund this, and they're not getting any more money.
Well, the rental homes that built for all of that stuff. It's more taxing on the sheriff's office. We get more calls as a result of all of that stuff. We just do. So.
So. I'm saying for us to make a percentage call and they're saying take it back and tell them what they're getting to bring something, so how we're at a stand.
I really think it should be the county that says this is what increases we have and amount of hours we're spending in the town, and then the inflationary costs, looking at the budget over the last 4 years, and then coming to them with an offer. That would be my suggestion.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, and to talk to what Blanche just said about taxes, 1/3 of what we get from you guys from taxes goes back into law enforcement.
It's a
So,
third of it.
third of it, yeah, so we take 1/3 of what we get back from the taxes and give it back to you guys for law enforcement. So, yeah, that's basically but you're right on the dot on that.
That's a lot of money. But we're kind of, like the sewer ponds, nobody wants us around until you need us. Then they want us. So,
Can you see on Black Mountain right now what like his budget's increased over the last 4 years?
it's,
I should have had this up.
Cause looking at the 2%, that would be. You're adding that up,
Okay, so
8%.
we're looking at the sheriff's budget for the last,
That's over the 4 years.
Yeah. But what you may need to do is like a 1-year adjustment, like a higher percentage, and then go the year, then back to a yearly percentage as well. Just a thought. If she said, if we find out it was like
Why don't
10% increase over the last, I just a
I
thought.
just don't think the calls are gonna go down.
They're not.
No, they're
Yeah,
going
yeah.
up. Everything's going up.
Yeah,
I think you're gonna have to keep it at.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
Keep it up.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah, that's what I mean. But it might need to be a 1 year where it's greater to make that
Just say
adjustment,
like 5% the first year and then the others are 3.
depending on what she finds out on.
and that's something that we can look at too, and right now, I mean, we are not even prepared to look at that. But we can kind of average it and see just what's happened in the last 4 years, and all we've done is increased by 2%.
That'd be something to take back to say like the first year, this is talking, let's say the first year's 5 and then the next 3 years is 3.
Yeah, that first,
2 or something.
that first year would get it balanced to where it covers the inflationary costs. that you-
And then the
Maybe
next
I-
year, maybe 3.2 and go down like that, just cause it's gonna, well, everything's going on. And we're not trying to dig it. Don't have to think that. We gotta make it so we can survive too. That's what we're doing. It's easier saying that, I think. And then after, if they do start paying for them weekends on stuff, then that's where we can take it down every year a little bit. The percentage, so, if they wanted to go that way, bring that up too,
Well, I don't think. Cause we're already paying for the normal, so this is all extra work that they're operating, so I don't see why that would factor in really, but.
Well, so potentially your percentage extra that you've worked, you're working over 32 hours, what that average is, and then you can include that in like a first year step.
Oh, she.
So
Yeah,
if I knew your account number. But we'll,
There any public comment on this? I thought I seen a hand.
Elena,
Go ahead, Elena.
Thank you, Elena Gagliano, for the record. I've been involved with this also since Sheriff Emershall was in office when they first did this. And first of all, I want to say that as it stands now, I know the Sheriff's Department does more than 32 hours a week. Sheriff Emershall, when I brought that question up to him, I said, tell me, when the 32 hours are up, do you just say, that's it, we're done? He said, of course not. And of course not, he is, of course, right. They have to respond. So they do a lot, but the way it should be done, an interlocal agreement should be between 2 government entities. This basically involves 3, the county, the sheriff, and the town of Phillipsburg. The town, under 1,000 people, should have, if they want, a marshal. An interlocal agreement between a sheriff department, I think Sheriff Scott brought this up, and a city is with a police department. The town does not have a police department. Okay, and that's what the confusing is right here. And I'm gonna say it now. If the town decides to put in a humane society and animal boarding, animal control, then Sheriff Scott, you are really gonna have your hands full when that comes in. So this 82,000 plus, you should be getting a hell of a lot more. Or there should be a marshal that handles the town. And if he needs help from the sheriff, that's when you have an interlocal agreement. Thank you.
One response to that is the sheriff is not a separate entity from the county, so you only have you'd have the town and the county are the two government entities. Also, this contract does basically make the sheriff's office the police department. They're the police under this.
That's why we have it, before it worked yet. Go ahead, Lynch.
I'm just saying I've got it up on the screen. We're looking, I've got 20, 21, and 22. And if you look on the bottom line, account group total, it's like the total budget for the sheriff's office in 2020 was $1,087,728.32.
That was 2020.
2020.
And
Then in 21, it was $1,269,586.
1,200,000.
Yeah, I can print that out for you or I can't print it out, maybe you can print it out.
Oh,
So it
yeah,
went up
yeah.
200,000
And they're
in
not,
21.
that's the thing, they're not united. I mean, that's the thing, they're just trying to make this work, we're all here to just.
So and then
Not
in
about picking it apart, but you don't work with this and that, we're not gonna get it.
How about the current fiscal year? Is it
this year, the budget looks like $1,163,002. So and then there's actually, you're looking at I'm looking at the right one.
the total in those 3 years would be an increase in
Okay, this is showing
3, and then
Or something.
that was 200,000 increase, and then back down 100,000. So
We're sitting like that three.
yeah,
You know, come out with a bigger percentage.
let me, I can probably fine tune that a little better, let me. You're taking me somewhere where I haven't been for a while.
It's mainly just make it work, but yeah, everybody's happy with it. Right?
Just to clarify something on Elena's comment too, I have no, with the exception of dealing with vicious dogs and incorporated limits and stuff like that. And per the statute. Per Montana law, the sheriff is a humane officer for animals in the county. But other than that, I don't have any interest in being the cat police, so. The sheriff's office isn't gonna do animal control. So.
But did you say you're not gonna do animal
Animal
control?
control. With exception of what we're required to. per the
What you're
statute.
doing right now, you're gonna keep doing.
Right.
So they don't get mixed up.
No.
so
Let me do something. Let me try something.
At least on this discussion, you can take it back and kind of feel out and see what they think and. If we have to email you something, let's throw something out, so. I guess we need to talk to Scott and then we can email you something, table it for next week. When's your next meeting?
Our next Tuesday.
So we could have you back on next week and have something.
one thing that 3-year period, there was an average increase of 150,000.
Wait, let me see if I can fine tune that a little bit for you.
Sitting at that 3 2, or it's gonna.
Okay, so there, I've got it down with just his account number. Okay, so.
Really? I'll just text again, he said it.
Um. Oh, see what I can.
So I was kind of looking at the sheriff's budget. Let's back off here. As I was doing the general fund. Did that seem a little high to you when I was giving those figures?
Oh, okay.
You should have yelled at me. So, okay, in 20. The fund total was. For the sheriff's budget.
Should be right around the
266.
Ish.
Can look up on that.
746.
There was, you got
Count
like
the total.
799,000 in 1 year, then went up 815, 924. Is that the numbers?
That sounds more right.
Okay, so the bold
Really?
group total, fund total, so group total, would that be? In 20. The bottom line,
798, 798,908 for 2020.
so do you see right there where it says account total, account group total and fund total? So account group total, I'm assuming is his fund.
Okay.
Am I confusing you guys? So in 20, 766,062, do you see that?
Yep.
Okay.
In 21, 924, 111. But I'm not sure if those are, that's something that we'll have to clarify with the clerk and recorder's office. Maybe squeak her in here. In 22, 815. See, I'm not so sure it's not the bottom line or the,
Let me go grab Sarah.
yeah. I don't know what that bold is. Oh, maybe the bold is what they expended. Am I confusing you guys? Sorry.
So Scott, quick question.
Well, one real quick thing, I think it boils down to we're a third of the total budget, kind of like the town is.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real consistent with the third of what.
So I think the
That's why
budget,
I'm saying like a 5, just throw a 5 and then the next year it's 3.2, that's being pretty fair, just to cover, you know, I mean,
Sorry, Jason, I'll cut you off.
No, my question was, in that budget that you're asking town, now that's just deputy, you're not, are you throwing in a dispatcher and
No.
dispatch, so, yeah.
That's just,
So we're catching the big break on that too.
yeah, 'cause towns that branch out and try to do this on their own, they gotta pay for jail costs, they gotta pay for dispatch costs, they gotta pay.
Yeah, that's what I was going at. That was what I was going at too.
Okay.
We don't have to cover, you know, if we had our own officer or something, yeah, you guys would charge us for housing our prisoners or stuff like that.
no,
So
it's a
that-
good deal all around.
It's good
Yeah,
for
okay, I think I figured it out.
It's second. When
I had thought,
it's good for everybody, it works for everybody, but
3 feet. God,
I know.
Go ahead.
all I'm saying is when I average it out, when we had the discussion with the group that wants to have a full-time dog catcher. And I had to discuss, and they want the county to go to the county. And I had this discussion that sheriff would lose a deputy, and he would
We're not
lose a
gonna do that.
deputy because of the fact that we couldn't fund an extra deputy for a dog catcher. So that was just my point. But all I'm-
that would be insane to do so, because these folks go through a lot more training. To get to the get it put into that patrol car. You know, if they're gonna hire a dog catcher, they shouldn't be a deputy, in my opinion, because
Okay.
they're paying a lot more money to get them to that.
That's it, and so what I figured out is I figured out a full-time deputy. Plus what it would cost, plus the benefits. And what it came to, and I went mid-year, or like in the middle of the road where the longevity is in the middle of the road. So it came to like 76,000 for that deputy. Per year, and so then there was like 82 or 87 or something, the 2% is what we received. So there was extra, which I said, okay, that's dispatch. That's helping with dispatch and all this other stuff, so you pay for more than one deputy for your, you paid more money.
It was 83,000 last time I penciled it out, Lance. Did you include fuel and everything that these folks burned through the year?
Is
It
what,
was 83,000 last time I figured it out, and that's been 2 or 3 years ago.
73,000 what?
83,000 for to fund one full-time deputy. And
Well,
that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Actually, I did, you're including what?
I included everything, and everything with the exception of the whatever liability insurance the county pays. I
You-
included the training, our uniforms, our gear, the academy, the bugle binders on the boots, everything. I included everything, and it was 83,000.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, so I didn't include that, I just include the actual salary and benefits, is all I did,
Okay.
and then.
Yeah,
and
see,
then-
the cost of the vehicle, the fuel and everything, I calculated all that. That they use annually. Yeah.
Blaine,
I was gonna say, looking at those. Fund numbers you just showed, the average increase over the last 3 years would be 47,000.
Okay, so on
different
the-
than we just talked about.
We're just trying to figure out, I'm thinking the top in the bold is that actual spent for that year, and then underneath it was the budget. And that's the sheriff's budget.
Yeah,
So in the
That's what's
bold
been-
is spent, and,
it,
okay,
right, yeah.
okay, so. First year was 911,460. Second year was 1,042,384. It must have been, the third year was 936,214, so that went down a little bit, and there might have been things that. We used in different funds, and then this year it was 1,055,860.
Is what actual spent
No, the budget.
budget.
anyway, so I guess for about this, they're gonna have to throw a percentage and take, they know, they understand.
I would go off of actual spent though for
Yeah,
averaging.
yeah, I'm just saying what we budgeted. Okay, so 766 in 20, 924 in 21, 815 in 22, and currently 798 with a month to go.
What would be then the average increase on that, using those
So
numbers?
take all those out of them and divide it by 4.
Okay, one more time, I'll do it.
Okay, we'll do 766. 924. 815, well, do 816. And do 799. I can go in and
Okay.
use this calculator.
Averaging that 4 years
Yeah,
would be
average
good,
4 years.
good indication.
Or are you trying to get the increase over the 4 years?
Yeah,
That's just averaging, or would that averaging work it, do it? No, I don't think the averaging would do it. You kind of stayed level on your expenditures.
Well, we haven't been able to get a vehicle. I still have
Oh.
to use the money.
True.
so,
Yeah,
so
true.
it's,
See, vehicles were budgeted and he hasn't been able to get a vehicle, so that's why.
Yeah.
And this right here is just giving you kind of a feel for what the sheriff's.
so it
budget
wouldn't,
is.
it wouldn't be adding those
I know.
all up and dividing before, it'd be adding the increase each year and then dividing by 4, I think is the correct way to do it, so. Let's see,
Well, I guess one thing, are we out of time?
No, we should.
No.
Yeah.
I gave you an hour for a work session. I don't know if I should give you less for work sessions or more, or.
5 and a 3.2, that's where it's, you have to figure all that, break it down.
We know for a fact it's gonna be more than 2%.
Oh, yes.
They know that too, they've all, we all know that. Just gotta make it a reasonable one, but yet, gotta make it so you're in the black and not the red.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
Do we want something added into it for special events?
It's already, I don't remember exactly how it's worded in their contract. But it's already in there for special events. I can
He just never
ask for
started
an
doing
additional assistance, which I do. I just don't send the town a bill for it.
And that's how it comes down, if they don't like the percentage thing, then that's why you base it on a
Okay.
percentage of higher, and then that's covering everything, then he don't have to waste time sending the bill. That's pretty.
Yeah, you can pretty much figure every weekend, just about every weekend in Phillipsburg, to have some sort of special event. And really,
I wonder, just purely for the sake of where the taxpayer is gonna see this, is if maybe if it's not too much, you could average those special events just what for your own use, for when it comes to a time when we need to say, hey, we might need to do this, it's not a resort tax, but do this tax because of what is happening in the town and the taxpayers paying for it, and I think we need to throw a little bit on the tourists.
I pretty much think you could factor one additional deputy every weekend in Phillipsburg. But you know, like the Rotary concert, for example, if that's reserve deputies doing that, that doesn't cost the taxpayer, they're volunteers. They're volunteers that can't quite do what the full-time staff can, but at least they can work those events, so.
I think we're all in agreement, just so we gotta figure out the right percentage and just throw that out and call it good.
Yeah, you can pretty much add one full-time deputy to every weekend in Phillipsburg through the summer. That would be. And there's times there's more than just 2, so. But that would give you a guide anyway, so.
So when you figure like it's 83,000 something just for the one deputy with everything outfitted. Then with what they're getting now, there's a little bit of leeway that's thrown with this to the dispatcher.
Yeah.
There's a little bit.
That included 20,000 miles on patrol car, everything. It
Yeah.
takes, yeah.
So then you're getting dispatch and you're getting justice court, a little bit of justice. And the only thing in your court is vicious dogs, right?
Dog tickets, yeah.
And speaking with the JP, she hasn't issued a ticket in. She said, like, you guys have calls, but she doesn't really. Get
There was
that
just a handful
many
written
tickets
that was
and
into the town.
Yeah,
There has
in the
been a
town.
handful written into the town.
And like I visited with the mayor and he said. That the only fees that you received from dog calls was like almost just $100 in the last. So you're not, dog calls isn't making you any money, dog calls. That would see, this is where my personal opinion is coming from, where I myself personally don't feel that we need a full-time dog catcher. It's just my opinion. So, I mean, that's coming from my opinion. Well, I know what you're saying, because there was 500 calls in the last 4 years,
Well,
which averages 199 calls, but there
Those
wasn't
numbers,
100.
you need to come narrow those numbers down. Every time we generate an animal complaint to the dispatch, it could be cattle on the road, which is probably 80% of them. So it was animal complaints that I asked Val to pull up in those numbers. Actual dog calls will be a lot lower than that. There is times that we deal with dogs or whatever it may be, and it's a pain. But. We just do it case by case basis
Yeah.
and deal with it. But
And you just do what's required in the statute.
Yeah,
It's good to know.
it's hard, and I, just about a month ago, when one of our deputies spends half his shift dealing with dog and having to transport to Missoula, you're taking a deputy out of county.
Well, that's a true story. That did happen. There's times that it happens, it's a real pain in the neck. But
But that's,
it doesn't
not
happen
now.
real often.
yeah, doesn't
That doesn't call for a full-time, I'm sorry, every once in a while. Again, don't debate me on this.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
No, we're not gonna get into that.
Yeah, that's a whole total different
We're
issue.
getting way off,
Yeah, we're not that, but
way off here. Let's just try to figure out. I don't know.
Sorry, I
So,
digress.
I guess that's the plan then, is trying to figure out a percentage and you guys go back and you know it's gonna be a raise.
Absolutely.
What'd you find in your
Good
bag?
discussion.
I've been
Yeah.
around.
And we can, just one at a time, get people. So we'll move on then and we'll just, you take it back and we'll try to get you something to, before next Tuesday.
Just to get the fancy J's under.
yeah, that works. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else? Yeah, and we'll just put it on our agenda next Tuesday night. So if you would come up with something, we can at least get it on the agenda so we can get this going because we're in June next week, so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you could have the commissioner have it on the agenda next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
The chair was talking to me.
That's the thing, we're getting too
Yeah.
much. Alrighty, well, that'll be the plan.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
We're good.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay.
See ya, thank you.
Thanks, yeah,
Good job.
you take care.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Do people in town, like if I were to throw an event or a concert or a show or something, do I have to pay the town a fee? No, I don't. I was just wondering that because, the garbage has been brought up and now the law enforcement thing, it kind of seems like a no-brainer.
That hockey thing and stuff to somebody
Yeah.
pay for that, but I don't know, I guess that's something has to be made or.
Because they're using a venue, but I guess just the influx
They probably do, but it's probably not very much.
substantial.
But they include in that there's deputy costs and garbage, then.
So can we have
Get
the
the
sponsor of the
Sure.
event pay for the deputy? After,
I think they can ask them to do it, and there was something brought up about that a couple of years ago that didn't. Well, Blaine, what was that? Remember when they were talking about that before? And they were gonna hire them special security people, or it just ended up in them. They did.
Yeah, I think some events, they do have their own security as well, but I don't think as many.
The worst thing about it, when they have security, still the call goes back to the sheriff, and he's
Uh-huh.
gotta come.
Yeah,
Security people,
Only so much the
Or when it's
security guy
over.
shouldn't be arrested. I mean,
yeah.
Or when it's over the influx at the bars or, those kinds of things. I guess it's that.
I just see it, you break it down, it's gonna be 5 or a little better the first year, and then drop it to 3.5. I mean, it's just that. They're still getting more than the.
Probably increase it 5 and then 5% of what the total is for this, and then add 3.5.
Yep.
For the next 3 years, something like
That's
that.
what I was trying to tell Scott, it's the easiest way to do it, cause then, you're catching up a little bit, plus you can't just squeeze to get by, and I
Yeah.
kept saying, well, we'll do this.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Mhm.
You have any comments? I guess we're still on this, but Becky brought in, can I get approval of the claims? It was just all jury thing. I had to put it on so I didn't have it all at one time. It's just all the jury.
Yeah.
I get a motion that accept the claims.
I make a motion that we accept the additional claims for the month, or they for the month of May.
Before last, yeah.
We haven't, okay, so we have paid some claims in May for a partial,
For a jury, just a jury duty.
I know, but is she
Yeah.
is she doing it in May or is she doing it in April?
Right.
Okay, so approve
Yes, sir.
partial May's
Yeah.
claims.
Yes, so we did.
That makes sense to you, Billy?
Yeah, so we didn't have more piled up in one
Yeah.
time.
Or-
I asked her to bring the jury ones in first.
I make a motion that we approve the partial claims for May
Sounds good.
I second
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor? Aye.
it.
This is a little bit early on them, but again, it was just a little bit early on them, but it's been done.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Like just when you start bringing up making amendments for. In the future dog catcher. Well, I don't think we can do that one.
Well, we can't, because it's not even a deal or anything yet, we don't know what.
It's gonna bind up the negotiations, all. it's
That's
gonna
all
do.
it's gonna happen, that's what I said, let's just stay on this and get this took care of, and then something comes up, then it's gonna be an additional cost. That's all the only way you can look at it, can't be. Put in right now due to the fact that.
Well, we
I
should
was
throw
hoping-
something out here, if there was a resort tax, could it pay for all this? Like the extra deputy and then maybe the dog catcher deputy and.
It would be a discretional thing. And what people don't understand about that is that. What it taxes is like prepared food. But you go to the grocery store, if you bought a gallon of milk, you wouldn't pay tax on it. But if you bought a burrito and heated it up, you'd pay a tax on it. And then. For the real estate, for your taxes, you get a 5%. Like rebate or on your actual. Taxes to compensate for what you have to pay. For when you're locally,
It still makes money.
it still makes.
I think they're gonna have to do something, because I mean, everybody's, just.
And what it is, it's more infrastructure. Is what it is. For infrastructure, but you're looking at, the streets and the things that the maintaining and the. Right?
Yeah, but I believe you could use it for that, but, I mean, the issue is, what's the jurisdiction of it, if it just, you're talking within town or out in the county as well. Or I mean,
See what they were looking at and what was, and then this is all just like hearsay and blah, blah, and. Is like. The mayor was saying, or we were thinking like the school district 1. Which school district 1 would hit the ranch at Rock Creek and it would hit. Discovery. And that would all come in and it would be infrastructure and probably what, public safety, are you saying? It can be used for like public safety.
yeah, I believe so. My preliminary opinion, that it's been a while.
I mean, this
since
was just-
Yeah,
Just thought. But it goes before the people decide.
yeah.
They would vote on it.
Can we close for a minute? Just a personal thing.
Yeah.
We ask you to leave just for a second, please. Have to give up. Alrighty. We'll go into the resolution 2023-6. Amending the current fiscal year budget for area 5. Fund number 2986. Anticipated contract funds from the state of Montana. This is second reading and adoption. I'd entertain a motion. We approved it, now we just gotta go through it.
I'll make the motion that. We approve resolution 2023-6. We adopt. Funds coming from the state of Montana.
Second.
Any public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
You do have one, Jim? This Granite County resolution appointing representative member to the board of multi-county abatement, what's that?
Our opioid district.
That's what you
Dwayne.
appointed me when I was gone.
Wayne's excited about it. He's the
So
secretary.
we have to resolution.
Yeah.
They're the committee, the group's asking that everyone do a resolution. I'd gladly back out, but if you'd like me to do it, I'm willing.
I guess we could have, maybe our timeframes are, they run the way they run, we might have been able to throw a little bit more into the correspondence this morning instead of 3 minutes.
True.
Yeah,
I can give you lots more time before I'm on.
Yeah, what is your opinion on timeframes for our agenda items?
probably some weeks you'd only need a minute for correspondence, some weeks you might need 5, or 5 minutes, so you could put 5 minutes.
The thing about the correspondence, when we see something that we need to take more time and don't understand, we always put it on the agenda the next week.
Yeah,
I think I don't understand what the deal is.
it's either be a decision of the chair or two members of the commission deciding that different.
All your timeframes are approximate too. You have that disclaimer on the bottom of every agenda. That you can take a little extra time or shorter amount of time for all agenda items.
Because there's stuff we really don't understand, it's pretty, we want to get it the next, we talk.
I agree. I think that's consistent with the law too. If you don't want, you want to limit the discussion on it, but just for the first time, if it's something you have to urgently take care
We've
of.
been called on that correspondence before and said stuff, and then they come back at us on it, so I think that's a
That's,
great way we do it, and then we can put it on the next week, or table it for the next week. The next one, just Great West. LOT and e-filing of time sensitive analyst, this is just to get that stuff back in the further.
Yes, so the time sensitive analysis is Jackie and I updated it since we have a new dam tender. It's different information on how quickly we could essentially get to the dam and the plan if there was an incident, because we have a new dam tender. So Jackie and I updated that plan 2 weeks ago, sent it off to Jeremiah. He made a couple notes on it. I have it in front of you guys, and that is the LOT, so we can get it e-filed to work.
They're happy with it, right?
Yeah. As far as I know, Perk will probably email us something.
Entertain a motion on doing the e-filing.
Didn't we haven't done the resolution 2023-7.
Whoops, sorry. Well, that's okay, that's just the first reading,
Yeah. Oh,
we talked about it.
we need to discuss it a little bit, why we have the resolution.
it's just that the abatement board ask everyone to do a resolution that's going to be basically a voting member of that. The way it's likely going to work is that projects for funding will go through the county commissions first, and then you guys will vet them, and then if you approve them, then they'll go on to the abatement board. And so it's a good way to do it, and the county commissions will have the opportunity, the time and resources to
Can
go
you
through them
explain
first.
what the multi-county abatement?
So you had all these the settlements with the pharmaceutical company, and so you have there's substantial trust funds that would be able to do projects on. I'm not sure how much dollars it is.
Oh, it's a substantial amount. I think only 10%, or it's a very small percentage that actually came to the county. The majority of it is sitting in the state's trust fund that the board controls.
So say that public health here had maybe a idea for some education on drug issues. They would have their project, bring it to the county commission here. You guys say yes or no. To say yes, and it'd go to this abatement board, which you're appointing me to be a member on. And this generally the abatement board is going to go along with what the county commissions are encouraging. But they'll probably meet either probably quarterly or twice a year. The board will meet.
So this is a resolution to appoint you as a member of the multi-county region for abatement board.
Correct.
Did they strong arm you or did you?
No, well, I was gone
You
one
guys
week and the
appointed
commission,
me.
you guys, the commission appointed me, so I was strong.
Yeah, strong one. Yeah.
There's either county commissioners or county attorneys on that board, so I'm willing to do
I
it.
think that you understood it way more than we did.
That's fine. The meetings will be by Zoom and they'll be efficient. And so this is just your first reading. If someone down the line thinks better, you can.
Do the funds at
Something
the
different.
county level have to be used for certain purposes, like
Yes.
prevention as well?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
in that agreement, so, but. Like, I think, DUI task force, public health, different thing, we have, how much funds do we have there?
Oh, it's not a lot. It's, I looked it up the other day. A couple grand and maybe like
Okay.
$3,000. It's small, the amount that has come to the county level.
My thoughts would be to give that to the DUI task force, because they're the ones
That's a good
going to do programs in the schools on alcohol and drugs.
It's a good
But-
idea.
No, I think that'd be good.
Something to reconsider when you're budgeting.
We would go with your advice.
I guess if public health if they have an idea for it, but it's 3,000.
Yeah, it's not a lot. Sometimes they help get speakers though, and do they do that in partnership? They're on the DUI task force, aren't they?
Yeah, public health is on, so yeah, they could use
So
those.
they guess, the use.
Or-
of it, too.
They tend and help with the DUI task.
Thank you, Blake.
You're welcome.
Do you want to give a little update on that mediation? It's not on the agenda, or do we there?
I would say agenda item next week. If you want.
Okay.
Yeah, we can give an update. The Rising Sun
Oh,
We're-
fun.
proceeding forth to do
Supreme Court.
briefs in the Supreme Court.
That what you had to do with Friday?
Long days.
The
Yeah.
yeah,
So you went out and got in a wreck then.
Huh?
So you went out and got in a wreck at work.
Yeah.
it was a little stressful. Yeah,
Oh, it got, yeah, it was,
They bring you lunch this time?
no, I'm in the mediation.
Oh,
no, well, bought my own lunch.
Oh.
It was here. It was for me.
Oh, okay.
But, there's something else. Yeah, we'll just put that on for next week and we can talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good.
Did the electrician get the over to the jailhouse? Do you know?
I do not know, but I can follow up.
It's been there. I'm not sure if it's finished or not.
He said he's doing that stuff at home. But I haven't heard anymore. Got parking lot stuff. Anything else? You got anything?
Oh, did meet with Ace Roofing guys on the roof, and they they're gonna have the manufacturer is gonna come look at it again. The county did, in that contract, agree that that roof get put on the old roof, which maybe wasn't the best idea, but so that's not an issue, but they're getting the drains fixed, they were an issue. And there's some other problems at the base of the dome that were not Ace Roofing, it was that was on a different deal, and that the warranty's up on that, and so Janine, I think, was gonna come in and talk to you guys about that other problem, because that's potentially a cause of leakage into the dome. So if that could be agenda.
Got a new leakage up there. If you look on that side, it's bad.
Where did that?
On the dome, on that side of it.
Inside,
Yeah, you go look, you can see where it's
So
really
the-
bubbling.
So the putting the copper on was one fix, and then that's not where the leakage comes, at the base of the dome, where some other work had been done in the past.
so
It's below the copper.
Yeah, below the
We've got
copper.
like 3 or 4 people and they just keep dabbing and tapping. I think it's gonna.
Didn't Dave have an idea of fixing it?
He, I think he talked to Janine about it, bringing down the copper. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, you remember, he mentioned something about it.
I can't remember, and then I did bring it to Janine's attention to get a price on these rugs. Cause that one upstairs going up there to the top,
Yeah,
somebody's gonna fall.
yeah, it's gonna be.
We need to
trippy
get
hazard.
this something like, she said, well, I didn't know what you guys wanna do, and I said. Well, we said, we need to figure out, get it fixed. So I told her Friday.
Well, you talked about new carpeting throughout the courthouse, didn't it?
Yeah, that's something that we need there, war down here, the war, I mean, that's just, there's so many people coming in and out of the mud now. And
how old is that? That carpet's easy, 10 years, if not
10 plus.
10
I
plus.
remember we put it in last time, but it needs to be redone again, I just. Need to get a price and get it done. Just make.
What did that cost?
I think about $6,000 last time.
Well, I don't know if it'd be necessary to do all the offices, they look like they're okay, or
Mainly the
do
stairs.
they
Yeah.
need to be done?
Some places the carpet does, but I don't know about all, but if you want to, I guess, consistent.
Do it in
I
stages?
just hope we just get a price on the stairs, because they're the wood,
Yeah.
at least we can get that done, that can't, I mean, it's gonna be a little.
Yeah.
bit.
Let's get it done, put it on the agenda for next year.
I
That
told
in the
her
dome,
Friday to get some
The base of the
prices.
dome. It's actually probably just courthouse roof more than anything calling it dome.
Okay, so to clarify, I will be here on the 6th.
Next week.
Next week. The 13th, I'll zoom in. And the 20th, I'll zoom in. And then I'll be back on the 27th. But I'll be here. I'll zoom from Spokane.
Softball?
Just got over graduation. Now we have, let's see. Billings this weekend. Spokane next weekend. Portland the following weekend.
Driving to Portland?
Yeah,
Yeah. Gonna need new tires after the summer. Huh?
and let's see where else. Then I think Helena. Oh, no, yeah, Helena. And then Idaho Falls. And then Polson and Missoula.
They're all weekend, like.
So that's a graduation present.
Some of them start Friday night.
Oh, do they? So then,
Did you
Not
not go to
cheap.
Jerry?
I'll send
Yep. He's on it. He's gonna get up there and take care of it.
That was nice, Paul, to show him how to work them valves and stuff too. Yeah, Paul tell him, told Jared how to do that, then he can adjust that.
So you called him,
I texted him.
you think 85 is enough?
Did we do 85?
Yeah, we
It's already gone.
live.
You don't think it's enough?
I don't know. Whatever you guys.
I don't know either.
well, you guys can look at
Well,
data.
yeah, now it's gonna warm up and the wind's gonna pick up, we'll lose some to evaporation
Yeah.
and start helping us through
Good,
it,
yeah.
not help, but that'll kind of be a big factor next, and then I guess, other than that, it's gonna be hit and miss, we're gonna really have to watch it day by day.
So let's have a plan, if they predict a big load coming in. You know, and it's gonna hit us. Should we dump more then?
Well, I think
If
what's.
somebody hears
safest is-
a prediction, you know, like a 6 days ahead.
I think what saved us is it being pretty cool at nights, otherwise we'd be in trouble. And I think it's,
That's no factor on, it's
there's still quite a bit up.
way up, but
I
that's
mean,
not gonna
it's
get.
still all gonna come down when it's gonna get here.
But yeah,
The ground is
that's,
soaked, so I think we're gonna see a lot of that. That's just me thinking that way, because the ground finally taken the water on. If, you know, cause it wasn't froze, so now it's.
So the snowpack is in the lake now, or do we still?
most of it. The way high stuff, there's still snow way up there, but that's not gonna get down. You know,
That's not gonna affect,
extensively.
yeah,
I think you're just gonna have to keep a really damn close eye on it right now, the next week or so, cause with this weather coming in, like now it's showing raining again today. I didn't think we'd get.
Yeah, they keep changing.
I mean, you can't even look at this every day.
Yeah,
It's
changes
bam,
by the
change.
second.
Then we'll get rain down there and nothing up here, you know, or up here, and nothing down there. So, I
Did it
think
rain
the
down there on
nights are-
Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, big time.
big time here too. I got soaked coming out.
Hard all day. I mean, it just was steady, just and then it quit a little bit, and boom, came back in, and no wind. So it's really actually sinking into the ground. But I guess another thing, Billy, you see if you can get hold of that guy, we gotta get that lawn mowed, cause I mean, you're only gonna have
Yeah.
a couple of days and then it's,
Gonna rain.
we have to hire somebody to recharge, put it on here. Lane. And if we had to hire somebody to mow that yard, do we charge him for it? Because he don't have nothing that says maintain yard.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
let's,
trying to be, but it's out of hand now.
I think we give them a written notice of it, but so if you won't, maybe give them like a week, if not, we give them written notice, that work or?
Okay. Yeah, I talked to him middle of last week.
You just gotta get done, cause it's gonna be so far.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not gonna. It's, hell, it's. Every up, you know, the yards next door being took care of, and then there we are again, it's crap.
Was there like grass around the garages that need maintained?
It's forever killed most of that, this is just that yard that he rents.
Well, I was thinking if that was the case, then get a lawnmower for the road crew and let him borrow it.
Yeah, if not, I mean, he could borrow, I mean, spell a school teacher and,
Yeah.
yeah, let him borrow.
Well, like last year, we made Nate get one, then before Nate moved in, we hired that guy to come over, just so it's fit for the.
Yeah,
That's all I'm saying, it just needs to be done, just, you know, it's our place and, I mean, he should have it done.
yeah, you're being reasonable on the rent and everything.
So he has pets that he boards out or something, or he wants.
I think he wants to get a dog.
You're scared, there's so damn much
Yeah.
traffic coming through there, I mean, you know, we got a lot, that's why we didn't want kids to have, to get a dog that's out there and squish and. I, you know, it's squish. Be buying the dog.
I don't think many places let you rent with pets. I think most places they know anymore.
They're so, you know, so much stuff goes on, the dog chews the door and something, and next thing you know, you're a big boss, and you don't have, I just think we leave it as no pets. And then that way we're not getting into a big, let somebody bring a dog in there and then next thing that.
Because it's on county property, it is county property, yeah, it would be pretty much have to. Is there no pets thing?
I think you're right to do it, because it's just gonna lead to the problem. And it was a big benefit to him, he's a school teacher, the
Yeah.
school teacher's having a tough time finding places, so
I'm
to
sure
get what
we-
you get.
Yeah,
he don't like it, I'm sure we print it out again, somebody,
Yeah.
you know, maybe. I don't know.
No.
Well, other than that, is there anything else?
You
Got
didn't vote
anything?
on, you didn't vote on this yet.
I thought we did.
You started to, and then you went back to the resolution.
On the Great West one?
Yeah.
I'd entertain motion for the Great West. Filing of time sensitive analysts.
I'll make that motion.
okay. So explain it a little bit to me.
So the time sensitive analysis is basically a document that, it's part of our EAP that we had to update since we have a new dam tender. That is like the amount of time it would take for an amount of parties to react if there was an incident at the dam.
Okay. So this e-filing of time sensitive. Okay,
Just to make sure we're
Yeah,
getting.
yeah. I will second it.
Any public comment on this? Being none, all in favor?
All right.
Aye. Did Jen have something to say, Billy, cause hers popped up once, I don't know if it was her or somebody else,
I don't see anything.
it's not,
No.
all right, well, there's. Take motion that we're done for the day.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Nice second.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.